Hello students, welcome to Learner's Planet. Let's continue with the chapter Control and Coordination. In the previous session, we have understood that what this control and coordination means and why is it so important. Further, in human beings or in higher animals, we had studied that this control and coordination process is actually performed by the special system. And what that system is known as? It is known as nervous system. So this nervous system, we had studied that the basic functional unit of the nervous system is a neuron. And neurons are these specialized cells which helps in the generation of electrical impulse. Or in other words, we can say they help in receiving the message from the site of stimulus or at the site of sense organs or wherever, and then it receives the message, is transmitting it to the control center and is then transferring it further to the target tissue. So overall game is actually maintained by the neuron, a single cell. This single cell, of course, it is so small so as to help in the process of the entire body. So of course cell alone cannot do the function. It is forming the tissue which is known as a nervous tissue, and these nervous tissues are forming the nervous system. In the nervous system, they are forming the organized organs which are together functioning so as to maintain this process of control and coordination. So let us find out, after after knowing the basic features, basic nature, basic functions of neurons, let us find out how it is making a nervous system and what are the different parts in this nervous system and how each is performing a function of control and coordination or any normal responding features of a living system. So this nervous system is basically comprised of three main parts. What these three main parts are? It is a brain, then a spinal cord, and the nerves. So they are these three parts are organized and they are interconnected. They are communicating with the other parts and then they are helping in responding to a particular stimulus. And all of these are made up of what? The nervous tissue. That means they are made up of the nerve cells or the neurons. Now these neurons, as we already said, that they are receiving the message and is transmitting to the another. So this type of receiving and then transmitting, this particular series is taking place in all of these parts. And of course, each part is having a particular function. Let us say, for example, these brain and the spinal cord, they are serving as a control unit or they are serving as a commanding unit. That means they are receiving the message, they are interpreting it, and they are transmitting it to the target tissue so as to take the action. So this control or the commanding part is maintained by the brain and the spinal cord. But they cannot function if they are not receiving the message. The function is not over if the further conduction to the target tissue or to the site of response is not conducted in a well manner. So this type of receiving and then conducting or interpreting and then transferring it to the target tissue, to the effector organ, that part is mainly maintained by the nerves. So brain and spine, brain is a organ or it is a structure which is located in the skull, and the spinal cord is a long thread like structure. It is a thick nerve actually which is situated at the back side of our body inside the vertebral column. It is protected by it. Then the nerves, these are present all over the body. They are connecting each and every part of the body to the target or to the commanding unit of your body. The director of your body is therefore what? It is the brain. We cannot say spinal cord is also a director. Of course it is helping in giving the response and interpreting the messages, but even it is under the control of the brain. So main control unit of a system is a brain, and brain is a part of a nervous system. This brain is now you can see that how much workload is there over this brain. So there are the different regions, there are the different parts of the brain which are helping in maintaining and performing different type of voluntary and involuntary actions. You remember what are these voluntary and involuntary actions? Voluntary, those which we perform on our by our wish, according to our will. So those are the voluntary actions. Now whether you want to do it or not, the decision is yours. And who is helping you in taking this decision? It is your brain. But if you have to do it, you have to take some action. So that message is conveyed by, it is commanded by the brain, but the message is conveyed further by the nerves. Similarly, the involuntary action. Let us say, for example, the normal respiration. You have to breathe in and breathe out. It is not your wish. So like you are getting bored, now let us just stop breathing for a while. For a while you can, but not for a long time. So that should be maintained, and that is the control of brain, and that is what you call as an involuntary action. Your heartbeat, the best example. You cannot stop your heartbeat according to your wish. Whether you want it or you don't, it will beat, and till it is beating properly, the heart is beating properly, you are alive. So who is maintaining this function? That is the brain. So whether it is voluntary or involuntary action, the command is given by the brain and the message is conveyed by the nerves. Beside this, the spinal cord. Now it is actually associated with various we can say like acceleratory or inhibitory sort of function. We can say acceleratory, that means like the action in which the breath rate has to be fastened, or we can say if it has to take place at a high rate. For example, let us say if there is a see, if you are looking in the dark, then you have, if you want to see something at that time, you have to dilate your eyes or the pupil. You have to these muscles should behave in that way so that the dilation can take place properly. Now who is doing this dilation? That is controlled by the spinal cord. It is not like whatever quantity or whatever level you want, you can dilate it. It is up to a limit. And then further, of course, it is not stuck over there. It has to come to the normal position. So who is performing this normal normal function here now? Who is helping in bringing this position at a normal point now again? That is the spinal cord. So such type of actions are controlled by the spinal cord. If suppose you are running, the breath rate is going to increase. Who will increase? A spinal cord is giving the command. It is giving you the message that you have to breathe at a faster rate. Now it should not be stuck to that again now. It should come back to normal rate also. So who is commanding? It is bringing up to the normal rate again. That is spinal cord. Now all these commands are given and the action is taken. How the message is conveyed? It is through the nerves. So the nerves which are situated in your head region or which are directly associated with the brain, they are known as the cranial nerves. Then another nerve, another type which is associated with the another entire body or the inner organs of the body, they are associated with the spine, that is the spinal cord. And such nerves which are associated with the spinal cord are known as the spinal nerves. Besides these, there are some internal organs of the body, and these nerves which are connecting the commanding unit of nervous system with these internal organs, they are known as visceral nerves. So this is how the nervous system is having different parts in our body. Right. Now each section or each type is now further subdivided into different regions. Let us say, for example, as these nerves are of different kind, the brain is having different regions. Brain is not of three types. Got it? Their brain is only one, but there are different regions. There are the sections, and they are divided into forebrain, then midbrain, and the hindbrain. And each part of this brain is again further subdivided. The region has been specialized for a particular response or for the action, and therefore we have to study further about each and every part now. So dear students, as this nervous system is having different organs or different parts over there, even the function is having a different sort of role or different sort of communication with the different parts of the body. So depending upon this, that which type of action is controlled by a particular nervous system, then it is subdivided into different parts. So these parts of nervous system, depending upon its function, it could be a central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, and autonomic nervous system. Central nervous system is comprised of brain and the spinal cord. These two things together are forming a central nervous system. What is the main function of the central unit? It is known as an intelligence center or deciding center or decision making center. This is what the specialty of this particular part of the nervous system. It is a whole soul maker of this particular thing, or we can even say that it is a director or it is a commanding unit of your nervous system, or even we can say of your body. So this is how it is comprised of these two main parts. Then comes the peripheral nervous system. What you mean by peripheral? You know what is this periphery? This periphery means boundary. So the nervous system which is communicating with your periphery of the body, that means which is communicating between the central nervous system and the different parts of the body, that system is known as the peripheral nervous system. Now does it mean that there are different parts of the brain which are located at the periphery of the body? No, it is not so. How it is interconnected or how the communication is going on? It is through the nerves. So basically all different types of nerves are actually making the peripheral nervous system. We had studied that there are different types of nerves, and they are spinal nerves, they are cranial nerves, and the visceral nerves. Spinal, the one which is associated with the spine, which arises with the spinal cord and is connecting the different parts of the body. Similarly, the cranial is the one which is located in your head region and is directly communicating with the brain. So this type of nerves, they are forming the peripheral nervous system, as they are just making a bridge between your different body parts and the commanding unit. Then the another type of system is autonomic nervous system. You know what does it mean? Autonomic means self-regulatory. A kind of autonomic means which is having a self-regulation properties. So in this case, we cannot say there is a self-regulation, but definitely a normal function which is taking place, it has to be regulated. It should not take place at a more than the normal rate. It should not take place at a lower rate. So this balancing of this thing is actually maintained by the autonomic nervous system. There are the times, suppose we are that we are crossing the limit of the function. For example, a dog is following you, it starts chasing you. What will be the response? If you are scared, your heartbeat increases, you start running. Now this increase in the heartbeat or in the running, that means your muscular movement of your skeletal muscles, all these are taking place or they are contracting at a faster rate than that of the normal rate. That means this autonomic nervous system has given the indication that you have to speed up, right? If you are fighting with someone, You usually you get extra energy in your limbs so that you can fight, or you start abusing, or in simply you start saying some such words that are not relevant also. That means you are behaving in a hyper manner, isn't it? Now what do you think? This hyper state is to be established. This hyper state is associated with what? The increased rate of the normal functions, like heartbeat, like breath rate, like muscular movement, and so on. So such a system has to be brought down to normal, isn't it? So this change in the rate is actually maintained by a autonomic nervous system. And this autonomic nervous system, if it is increasing the rate than the normal one, then it is known as sympathetic nervous system. Now this sympathetic or hyper mode has to bring down to the normal rate. Then the part of the autonomic nervous system which helps in bringing down the level to the normal state is known as parasympathetic nervous system. Now it is not so that parasympathetic is only bringing the higher rate to normal. Even sometimes there are the situations when we undergo a depression, or the normal rate becomes it goes towards the lower side. You must have heard about the low BP. So that has to bring to the normal rate. So that is of course alternatively done by the sympathetic nervous system. So this is how these particular parts, they are actually constituting the entire nervous system. So the commanding center, the one who is giving you the command or the message to take the response, is known as the central nervous system and is comprised of brain and the spinal cord. Then peripheral, which is communicating between the muscles of the body, in short, or the different parts of the body, and the central nervous system is known as the peripheral nervous system and is comprised of the different types of nerves. The autonomic nervous system, which helps in the regulation of the normal rate of a particular function, and this is actually under the control of the spinal cord. They are of two types, but the function is controlled by the spinal cord. So this is how there are different parts of the nervous system. Now let us understand about each and every part in detail. So the very first part of the system is the central nervous system, and we already stated that it is a decision making center of the body. That means whatever decision you have to take or the command you have to take according to your will or in an involuntary action also, the command is given by the central nervous system. It is comprised of what? The brain and the spinal cord. So these are the major organs or the master unit of our body, and each is having the specialized region also, so as to control the different functions of the body. What are they? The brain is divided into three main parts, that is forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Forebrain, as the name is suggesting, the fore means what? In the front. So this front part of the brain is known as forebrain. Then midbrain, that is the central part. So the central part is of course known as the midbrain. Then comes the hindbrain, that means the posterior or the back side. So that part of the brain is known as the hindbrain. Now each of these parts are further subdivided into different regions. What these different regions are? They are the cerebrum, olfactory lobes and diencephalon. So the cerebrum, or we can say forebrain, is the largest part of the brain. It actually occupies most of the part of the brain. It is the largest part here. Then comes the midbrain, which is very small and is situated in the center. This part is basically it is comprised of certain small nerves which help in interconnecting forebrain with the hindbrain. Now this communication is of course important because some of the decision is made by the forebrain, the other is made by the hindbrain. So accordingly it should be done. Then comes in the hindbrain there is cerebellum, pons and medulla oblongata. These are the major part of the hindbrain. We are going to study about each and every part now, and of course we will learn that what type of function are they going to perform. So this brain, let us just understand the basic structure of the brain, and then we will switch to the various parts of the brain so as to understand the function of each and every part. Brain is, as we said, a major coordinating center and is considered as the most vital organ of the body. You know why is this so? As we already said that it is a major coordinating center. That means all of the coordinatory functions of the body or the control functions of the body are actually regulated by the brain. Whatever coordination is taking place is under the control of the brain. I'm sorry. Yeah. So this brain is having different functions. They have to control almost all of the normal functions of the body. All of the life processes should be maintained, and therefore if other life processes suppose they are hindered, or they are just the functioning is affected in any way, then it may have a limited effect on the body. But in any case, if brain is actually affected, or if some damage is caused to the brain, then most of the life processes are going to be affected. In the case of other life processes, it's not like that they can tolerate the damage or something, but definitely the effect may be limited to some part. It may have some partly effect on your body system, but if it is a brain, then definitely you will suffer from the major problems. So therefore we are saying that it is the most vital organ of the body. All organs are vital, but this is it is the most as compared to the other. Now this is the reason that why the so much of protection is needed. We had already studied in the previous chapter also that the different type of organs, they are supported and they are protected by different type of membrane or different type of cages or different structures. But in the case of brain, extra protection is required, and therefore there is the provision of certain different regions here or certain different structures in this case. How this protection is provided? Let us find it out. So initially the brain is actually enclosed in a skull. It is enclosed in a cage-like structure which is made up of bone and is of course very hard. And that bone or that skull or that bony box is known as cranium. You must have heard about it. The brain, you can even touch at your head. You can feel that hard surface at the above side, isn't it? And inside that the brain is enclosed. So this skull which is enclosing the brain is scientifically known as cranium. Now inside the cranium, the brain is surrounded by the membrane. These membranes, they are triple and they are known as the meninges. These meninges, they are of course membrane which are surrounding the brain, and the space is present in between the membranes. So already as they are enclosed inside the membrane, so extra protection is provided, and further much more protection is provided as the space between these particular meninges is filled up with a special fluid. That fluid is known as cerebrospinal fluid. So this cerebrospinal, why it is known as like this? Cerebro is related to cerebrum or the brain part. Then spinal related to your spinal cord. So the fluid which is filling the space between these membranes, that is known as the cerebrospinal fluid. So in this way the membrane is getting triple protection from any damage which may be caused from external. So initially your skull is going to just prevent it from any sort of damage. Then further, the membranes, which is of course serving as the barrier, and then the fluid which is filled in between these is going to serve as a insulatory material, or even it is serving as a cushion. So this is how the even when we fall, so this can serve as the I mean, if you fell down and you get some injury over your head, the brain is protected, as the brain is it is surrounded by this cushion like structure. So hence we can see that such a great protection is provided to the brain. Now further, the brain is divided into 3 parts, and this we had already studied. Each section, each part of this brain is specialized for a particular function. Now these regions in the brain is what? It is forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Now even they are divided into specific regions, and each region is then specialized for the different specific function. It can transmit the message, it can convey the message to different organs of the body. So this is how this type of specialization is taking place inside a living system or in the nervous system. So now let us just find out the exact position or the region where these parts of brain are actually present. This is a diagram of the brain. I'm so sorry. Here is the diagram of the brain, in which we have highlighted the different regions, which are the midbrain, forebrain and the hindbrain. See, this is a side view of the brain, and accordingly you can see this is forming a sort of hemisphere, right? So this hemisphere, it is a, we can say, oval shaped structure somehow, and this oval is actually these points of the oval shaped structure are they are running from the front part, that is from forehead towards the back part of your head. This is how it is situated. So this is a side view. That means this front anterior part is towards your forehead. I'm not saying this is the forehead. I'm saying it is towards the forehead. That is, it is the front part of the brain. And the back side, this is towards your back. That is towards the neck region. So this is your bottom region, that is this region is actually, here is the neck region. So this is how the oval shape is actually fit inside your skull. Now in this case we are not shown the number of membranes, and even we had not shown the skull, which is not possible here. If we show the skull, then definitely we cannot view this particular thing. So if you have to understand, we can say that there are 3 membranes in which are surrounding the structure. There is initially the skull, then there are 3 membranes inside, 1, 2 and the 3 which are already shown. So these are internally, or in between, they are filled up with the cerebrospinal fluid, that is CSF, which is providing which is serving as a cushion like structure. Now internally you can see there are some conversions here. The nervous tissue, they are situated, they are actually forming this random arrangement. So these are actually, we can call them as the fissures also. These depressions, they could be known as the sulcus. Now these are made up of neurons. There's each nervous tissue or each part of the nervous system is made up of a neuron. So in this case, the neurons are arranged all over. In this case, here the nerve cells are arranged in such a way that its cytons are generally exposed towards the outer side, and the inner axons are towards the inner side. Of course it is in a random way, but of course we can say most of the part of cyton is situated over the surface, and this is known as the grey matter of the cell. Now whereas the axon, which is considered as the white matter, is situated towards the inner side of the brain. Now further, the regions here which are specialized or which are distributed here, we can say them, it is like this. that is forebrain. This front part, beginning from this front region towards the back side, this entire part starting from here and then till here, this entire region is known as the forebrain. So it is the largest part of the of your brain, and this is almost actually it is divided into two parts further, and is occupying most of the part up to 2/3 of the brain. This much region is actually forming the forebrain. Then comes the midbrain, which is in this central region. This structure here, this is actually considered as the midbrain. And then comes the hindbrain. So this hindbrain is comprised of 3 regions and is in the center part at the root side till this tree-like or flower-like structure you can observe here. This much part is known as the hindbrain. So now you can understand very well that the front part of the brain is the forebrain, then center is the midbrain and is the smallest section, and then comes the hindbrain. So this is how these are located or subdivided internally. Now this is just one half of the brain. We can see it is present in the entire skull. So this is just a lateral view. Now further we must understand, we have to study about the each and every part of the brain individually, that how they are subdivided further and what is the function of each part. That is forebrain, midbrain and the hindbrain, and that we are going to continue in the next session. So till then, goodbye. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. We'll meet you soon in the next session.